Hello and welcome to Millennium News TV 24 special update with the Bronx Borough President, Vanessa L. Gibson. Thank you and welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Wonderful. So today we'll be talking about mental health and Bronx youth and the murals.
hmm
So maybe you could tell us a bit more about that.
Sure. So earlier this week, I was very proud to host here at Bronx Borough Hall the exhibit of three art murals, which is a partnership with the New York Yankees and the New York City Department of Youth and Community Development, also known as DYCD. And we had several elementary and middle school students that participated and responded to a social impact art competition called First Pitch. And what we asked these students to do was look at art and the expression of art through the perspective of addressing gun violence. Right? We believe that gun violence is a plague across the country, right here at home. And we want young people to come up with solutions on how to address gun violence because it plagues them every day. And we have so many young people that are affected by violence in all forms, right? And this competition really was a chance to see the very best of the Bronx, our talented young people that are full of creativity and innovative ways of working. And we're so excited that we were able to announce the winners at our press conference earlier this week. And we are just so grateful to DYCD, our Deputy Commissioner, Darryl Rattray, City Commissioner Keith Howard, and really everyone at the New York Yankees for fundamentally believing in what we're trying to do. We want young people to be at the table. We want to amplify their voices, and we also want to activate their talent through art. We believe art is an important component of scholars' education. And so as we talk about the Bronx Children's Museum, the Bronx Museum of the Arts, we talk about Pregones Theater, the Bronx River Art Center, the Bronx Zoo, Botanical Gardens. We have all these beautiful cultural institutions in our borough that are doing this work every day. And when I was in the city council, I was able to work with my colleagues to make sure we had more art teachers in schools because art should not be known as an elective or an extracurricular activity. It's a core part of our students' academic career. So we launched and we were able to display all three of the murals. And I want to recognize and say thank you to all of our participants because everyone is a winner. But for this purpose, for First Pitch, we were only able to share it with three. And the winning teams were the Claremont Neighborhood Center, and their mural was entitled Youth Violence and the Impact on Mental Health. Super, super important. And we also had the Kips Bay Boys and Girls Club, and their mural was entitled Violence Affected by Lack of Mental Health Intervention in Bronx Communities, right? Also mental health related. And thirdly, learning through an expanded arts program, which we all know as LEAP, which is an after school program. And their mural was entitled Silenced Violence, the Unspoken and Unresolved Issue. And it was created by artists Mahogany Morales, Jolani Tejada, and Yoremi Diaz, and Hudasi Herrera. Those were the artists. And we know that art has really proven to have a real positive impact on our youth by providing them with construction, with effective and safe ways to be civically engaged. And that's what we want to resonate with this. So right now here at Bronx Borough Hall, started Monday of this week, today, tomorrow, we've had these three murals on display from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And on Thursday, I believe that's December the 19th or 20th because my days are off. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So we've invited school groups, community organizations. We've invited a groundswell of partners that work with us in the borough and really ask them to come and visit to see these beautiful murals on display here at Bronx Borough Hall.
That's amazing. Absolutely incredible. So, First Pitch.
Mm-hmm.
How do initiatives like First Pitch contribute to improving mental health awareness and support for Bronx youth?
So I think it allows a level playing field. It gives our young people a real comfortable space, a space that is welcoming, a space that is inviting, and allows them to share their ideas. It allows them to be their authentic selves. It allows them to be unapologetic about who they are and some of their fears and frustrations and anxieties and uncertainties and everything that they feel. It gives them that environment that is encouraging them to come forward and speak up and be a part of their own growth, of their own development, of really making sure that we're working closely together to really identify their needs, but we're using them as a catalyst as well. One thing that we often do as adults and electeds and all these other titles is we talk about young people and what we want them to do, but we don't include them in the conversation. And that's not acceptable. And we have to include them. They have to have a seat at the table. And so this initiative with DYCD and the New York Yankees speaks volumes to that. And it's just the first, and it won't be the last. I think there are many opportunities. I love art competitions. I think about programs that are run by other agencies that have also had a youth component. And we want to make sure we work with those youth that may be involved in the criminal justice system. We want to capture them. We want to offer them more programs so they don't get rearrested, they don't recidivate, they don't get engaged in negative behavior. They don't engage in violence, because we know young people are surrounded by peer pressure all over the place, from social media to their school community, and they're put in positions that they normally don't want because of fear of, retribution, of fear of not being socially accepted. I mean, there's lots of things young people go through these days, right? I'm not as young as I used to be, but I certainly am not older where I can't understand what young people are going through. I'm having young children in my own family, a teenager who's a high school senior now. I have a 9-year-old niece that is in the 4th grade. I have 2 goddaughters that are high school sophomores and juniors. So I'm always trying to stay attuned to what young people are going through. Number one, it keeps me young. But number two, I know what's going on out there. I know what's going on out in, the Instagram world or the TikTok world. I know what's happening with young people, because sometimes we can't remove ourselves so far that we don't know what it's like to be a young person, even though the times are very different. And for me, this is about making sure that those programs are available, and that most importantly, we give young people a space that's not criticizing them, a space that's not judging them, a space that is warm, that is loving, that is compassionate, that is loving on them, surrounding them with what they need, and most importantly, letting them know that it's okay to not be okay.
Great. Are there any plans to expand similar programs or partnerships to address other mental health challenges facing Bronx youth?
Oh, absolutely. Sure. There are a lot of existing programs today. I think of a lot of non-for-profits that run programs that work with young people around mental health, around trauma-informed care, healing centers, and healing spaces. I've seen many intervention programs, ATD programs, focusing on young people that may be suicidal. So I think of Community Life, and they have a program called Life is Precious, and they work with young Latinas who are more likely to have suicidal thoughts, among many other youth of color. So there are many programs that exist today, but specifically DYCD-led programs, after school programs, we definitely want to look at more opportunities working with Commissioner Keith Howard and the Adams administration. We want to look at next year as a year of more opportunities, more partnerships, more initiatives, because at the end of the day, we could never stop serving young people. We can never stop trying. We don't always get it right, but we cannot give up. Young people are facing so much right now. Even now with the holiday season, we have a family in our borough that was a victim of violence. Their college age son was coming home from college on last Friday and got into a conflict with someone and was fatally stabbed. And he never made it home for Christmas, and he's not going back to college. And that is such pain. This is a family that is now forever broken by the acts of one person, and more than likely another teenager, right? So they're never winners on both sides, on the victim side as well as the suspect side. There are families on both sides, and no one wins. And when you think about the opportunities that we have to give young people, it is those college pathways and pathways to careers. So we will never stop trying. We will never stop pushing the needle. We will never stop pushing for funding and more programs, more rec centers, more community centers, because we know that these places are safe spaces for young people. They keep them safe, but they also actively engage them with programs and resources so that they can be just independent, they can be self-sustaining, self-sufficient, and ultimately they can be successful.
Very good. Um, would you like to mention anything about the toy drive at the Bronx Zoo for the veterans?
Oh, sure. The toy drive that we have, it's our second annual, but it's been going on for about 15 years in the office of the Bronx Borough President in conjunction with our Veterans Advisory Council and Roadway Moving. We work with the Bronx Zoo, we work with Lehman College and other sponsors, and we're able to provide toys for military families, veterans families, current members of the service and former members, retired members, and their families, because we know the sacrifices that military families go through when they send their loved ones out. They expect them to return home. They're fighting for our democracy, defending our nation's freedoms, our values, and everything that we hold true to as Americans. And we honor that, and we should honor that all year round and not just November as Veterans Appreciation Month. So this event, we usually invite about 300 families and they come to the zoo. We have Santa, we have hot chocolate, we have cookies, we have just an assortment of programs. We have music, we have games, and we give out toys. And we just had this event last weekend, December the 16th, I believe. And it was a great event. And it wasn't cold either, because last year it was really, really cold. This year, the weather was much better. And just to see the smiles on our children's faces, it warms my heart, because we should do every and anything possible to put a smile on a child's face, because it's not their choice. It's not their responsibility, it's our responsibility. So I'm so glad that we were able to have it. And I want to recognize my team here at the Office of the Bronx Borough President, our sponsors. Thank you to the Bronx Zoo for hosting us. And we look forward to more partnerships with our veterans to come.
Amen. Thank you. So, is there anything that you'd like to add in closing?
In closing, let me just say that it's been really an honor to serve as the Bronx Borough President, number 14, the first African-American, the first woman to ever serve. I am about to complete my second year as Borough President, and it's the greatest honor of my life to serve 1.5 million residents and families. We've had a lot of great success, a lot of great progress, new jobs. We've lowered the unemployment rate from as high as 26.5% down to 6.5%. We are reimagining the Kingsbridge Armory. We are expanding the Metro North with access to Penn Station in 4 communities in Co-op City, in Hunts Point, in Morris Park, and Parkchester Van Ness. We're looking at transforming the Hunts Point Produce Food and Distribution Center in the South Bronx. We are reimagining the Peninsula, which is the old Spofford Juvenile Detention Facility. We have a number of housing projects all across the borough. We have a lot of capital projects, transportation projects. We're expanding Lower Concourse Park. We opened Bronx Point, the future site of the Hip Hop Museum, expanding Mill Pond Park, the opening of the brand new Children's Museum, the first ever in our borough, new parks, new playgrounds, boosting tourism, encouraging tourism, expanding on opportunities, historic districts. We are really looking at so much in the Bronx, and it has not been easy, and many families have struggled. And I realize that we've been the source of far too many residential and commercial fires. We've had tragedies, we've had children, victims of crime. We've had so much happen, but yet and still we have hope, yet and still we look to a better future for tomorrow for our children. Our work must continue. We cannot give up. We cannot lose sight. We have to stay focused, because our children need us. They are the future leaders, and if we don't do it, who will? We have to assure them that this work has to have a difference, has to make a difference, has to have an impact. It's so important for us as we move forward. So I am thankful to be your Bronx Borough President. And on behalf of my team at Borough Hall, our Deputy Borough President, Janet Peguero, our Chief of Staff, Justin Cortez, BX, EDC, BTC, BICNY, all of the different arms of our office, we extend our warmest and heartfelt appreciation to each and every one of you for the honor and privilege to serve. And we wish you and your families a very happy holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Boxing Day, Happy Three Kings Day, happy festival for my Caribbean Americans. And most importantly, we look to a better new year. Happy New Year, happy 2024.
Thank you so much for being on the program. On
Thank
behalf
you.
on Millennium News TV, 24 seasons greetings. Merry Christmas. Happy
Yes.
holidays. Thank you so much. See
Thank
you
you.
next
Season
time.
greetings. Thank you.